The following is a presentation of Realtree Outdoors Productions. Welcome to Realtree's Monster Buck 6, Volume 2, On the Trail of Trophies. Now let's join Bill Jordan, Michael Waddell, and David Blanton for all the action.
Hi folks, I'm Bill Jordan and welcome to Realtree Outdoors Monster Buck 6, Volume 2. Now if you had an opportunity to watch our Volume 1 video, you saw some incredible hunts. Well, I can promise you Volume 2 is just as exciting. And joining me once again are my two friends, David Blanton and Michael Waddell. And David, we have some more great hunts.
Well, I tell you what, Volume 1 was awesome, but personally, Volume 2 is my favorite.
Wonder why?
He barely made the video. Ain't but about 176 points worth on the video on one deer. That's just one deer.
I don't know what to think when he takes a bigger deer than I do, but David, I'm excited for you. That was an awesome deer.
Well, it was a great deer, and I tell you what, Bill, it really was worth the demotion.
Yeah, with the paycheck. I hadn't told you about that one.
No, you
Not
know.
only the demotion, but
From producer down to, I don't think Bill's got a new title for you, but I'm talking about that's a great buck, David. He's going to look real good on your wall.
I can hang the deer in the bathroom.
That's right.
you know what?
Dressed
That
him.
was an incredible deer. But you know, I think one thing about Volume 2 that I'm really excited about. You know, we've always profiled some of the largest deer taken in North America each year, and there again we have some more great profiles.
Well, Volume 2 is no exception. Some great stories to be told around North America. We interview the hunters who took the deer, and it's really interesting. People really enjoy them. And then tips, Mike. You know, we
That's
got
right. Lots of good tips from Larry Weissoon, and the list just goes on and on, our pro staff guys.
Sure.
Well, what we got coming up next? I know that we talked about Montana, one of my favorite places to go, but explain some of those hunts to us.
Well, again, we go to the Milk River in Montana. We're hunting early in the bow season. We're fairly predictable deer movement going to and from the alfalfa fields along the river. And this past year, we had a chance to hunt with Greg Tinsley, the editor of Peterson's Hunting Magazine, and also Randy Reed, a friend of yours from college who you played college ball with at Ole Miss, joined us on the hunt, and then you took a great deer out there.
You know, I took an exceptional deer out there. A lot of good hunts in Montana, but I think one thing, you know, we always talk about this, you know, being able to share hunting camps with different people. You know, Greg Tinsley's been in camp with us a lot of times, always a lot of fun to be with. And David, as you know, Randy and I have been longtime friends, and, you know, even during college, we hunted and fished a lot together. And, you know, it's always great all these years later to share a hunting camp with him. But, folks, what we're going to do right now is show you 3 exciting hunts from Montana. Let's take a look.
Greg Tinsley has hunted whitetails all over, but he'll tell you that for sheer number of quality bucks, Montana river bottom hunting is hard to beat. Quietly making his way to the big cottonwood tree, Greg has succeeded in not spooking any deer out of the adjacent fields. It's mid-afternoon, and the alfalfa fields are already attracting some deer that are taking advantage of some cloud cover and cooler temperatures. It should be a great afternoon as Greg's stand overlooks a well-used trail leading to the alfalfa.
Here we go. Here comes a good one. Here comes a good buck.
This buck has just recently polished off the velvet. He's a good deer. Perfect hit, Greg.
He's down, he's down, he's down, he's down, he's down.
Good shot. Now let's take a look in slow motion.
Oh, he's down right here, come on. 25 yard recovery. Ooh, he's a beautiful buck. Beautiful, early season, slick Montana whitetail. Just south of the Canadian border. What an afternoon. What a lovely buck. Feeding pattern. Coming into an alfalfa field here to the north. We saw him a couple of 100 yards off. The tension built. They staged right in front of the fence and then came through. He jumped the fence on into the field and I got an arrow into him. Look at this buck. Oh, he's a beautiful thing.
Fantastic. Now let's pick up with Randy Reed on his first ever Montana hunt.
This is the first afternoon of the Montana whitetail season. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. These deer are coming through this little thicket here to get to this big alfalfa field out here. I'm gonna get up in this stand right here and see if I can't cut one of them off.
Randy's strategy is identical to Greg's. Intercept the deer as they make their way from the thick bedding areas along the river to the irrigated alfalfa fields. Randy spots movement in the far brush line. It's definitely a buck of some size. The shot is high and back. Luckily for everyone, Randy's broadhead sliced the artery that runs along the backbone, providing a quick hunt.
I hit him a little high, but I think I hit him good. It looked like he stumbled out there about 30 or 40 yards.
Nevertheless, Randy decides to wait on Donnie at dark to begin the trailing job.
Randy?
I got it to right here, Donnie, and then it's slowed up a little.
Okay, well, the river is not very far from here. It's just about another 50 yards up, so that's probably the direction he was heading.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
There he is, Randy, laying right across the river.
Oh, man.
Good job.
Man.
There he is.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Who's going to swim for him, me or you?
I think you said we, didn't
That's
you?
my job, isn't it?
That's right. I'll hold you close.
Okay. Randy, you sure didn't wait long.
Now, it's bad to do it on the first day, but when he came by and I got a good look at him, I had to take him.
He's a hard one to pass up.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my lecture from Bill Jordan when I get back to the lodge, but it's a great Montana deer, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you,
Good
Randy.
job.
We enjoyed
Thanks.
having you.
Now let's join Dick Idle for this Realtree Monster Buck profile.
You know, I've hunted a lifetime and messed with antlers most of my life, and I don't think I've ever seen a buck that had antlers this light in color. Very unusual. But most people would look at this buck and think that he's a giant typical buck, which he certainly has that appearance, but in reality, his official score is 245 non-typical. He does, however, have a giant typical frame. One of the most noticeable things about this buck, his typical frame gross is 220 and has a net of 212 and 6/8, which is world class, right up there with the best whitetails in the world of typicals. He only has actually 6 non-typical points, 4 on his left side, 2 on his right, which combined to make a total of 32 and 6/8 abnormal points. And of course, when that's added to that giant typical net frame of 199, that's how he gets his 245 score. Tremendous main beams, some points almost 14 inches long, just a great buck in anybody's book. As I said before, these light-colored antlers are very unusual. In my opinion, it's put on typically by what the bucks rub their antlers on when they're doing the rubbing. Quite often, as the case with Midwestern bucks, they don't have access to a lot of spruces and pines and evergreen trees, which have pitch and resin in them, and consequently, they end up with lighter color antlers. But don't let that fool you. If you happen to see a buck with antlers this color, I wouldn't pass him up because there's nothing wrong with him.
This Monster Buck hunting tip is sponsored by Realtree Extra. If it looks real, it's Realtree. Here's Chuck Adams on shooting a quieter bow.
Hi, I'm Chuck Adams. If you hunt very much, you know that a white-tailed deer has this nasty little habit called jumping the bowstring. There's no way you could shoot an arrow fast enough to beat a whitetail to the punch. Take it from me. The only way to bag that buck is to shoot a silent bow. There are 3 great ways to silence your hunting bow. The first is simply affixing silencers to your bowstring about 10 inches from the upper and lower limb tips. I personally prefer cat whisker silencers, which have multiple rubber filaments that absorb sound like a sponge. The second great way to silence your bow is simply attaching moleskin or felt to key places along the handle riser. If you drop your arrow off the rest or clank it against other parts of the riser, moleskin or felt will silence that blow and let you take the shot. A third way to silence your bow is simply attaching a stabilizing device. A rubber-loaded stabilizer like this one absorbs up to 50% of the noise from your bow. Follow those 3 tips and you're going to beat that whitetail to the punch. I'm Chuck Adams, and that's your Realtree Outdoors Tip of the Week.
Now, back to the Milk River. Bill and Jay Novacek wisely spent some time doing some long-range scouting along the river. From this point, Bill could get a better feel of which trails are being used the most. Sure, an afternoon of hunting may be forfeited, but this will allow Bill to pattern the deer and fine-tune his bow stand.
Look at all this plush alfalfa in here, and folks, what we're going to be doing this afternoon, we moved some stands up, at lunchtime today, and this morning what we did, we took our binoculars and got up on these far hills that you can see away from us, and we saw a lot of bucks move off through this alfalfa to bed up in some brush. And well, you know, we put up a stand. I think it's going to be a good afternoon. Let's just see what happens. You know, this is our stand set up right here. The tree's not that big, but it's around the trails, and we're going to see how good this Realtree Extra works right now. Hope this camel does the job.
Bill spots some deer, and in the group is the buck he had seen in the alfalfa the day before.
That's the shooter.
The buck is 15 yards away. One more step, and Bill has a clear shot. Great shot. Bill watches intently, trying to spot the buck going down.
Good deer. Good deer. Golly, can you believe folks believe that? Whew. That is unbelievable. folks, we got us a good deer. I'm shaking like crazy. We set these stands up at noon today. We had a little strategy. We got a long way off this alfalfa field next to this river bottom and put these stands in. And I'm telling you, there was 5 or 6 deer just right on top of it. Thank goodness the wind was blowing a little bit. And I feel real good about the shot. I'm telling you, this is fantastic, fantastic.
Man, what a hunt.
He went down right through here. I could see him from the stand. And here we go right here. Looks like he went right through here. I know. There he is right there. There he is right there. Look at this buck. I think we got us a good buck. I think we got us a good buck. Folks, what a great, great deer. Let's take a look at this deer right here. What a dandy 10-point buck. Oh man, what a beautiful deer. Got good inside spread, got good tine length right there, and I am really excited. We had a lot of deer came in right on the trail where we put the stand, but to tell you what happened this morning, we didn't hunt this morning, and we got off of some hills way far away, and we glassed, used our binoculars down into the fields and got a direction of 2 or 3 shooter bucks his size, how they went off the field. We came here at lunchtime, put up stands, and this is the results. I love it when a good plan comes together. But I'm extremely proud of this Montana whitetail.
Bill, you talk about being close range to a deer for quite a while there. That was a great hunt. You had that deer figured out. Tell us how you did that.
David, I tell you, you guys have been out there, and anytime I think that you hunt big fields, and this was a huge alfalfa field, it's very hard to pinpoint deer where they're coming and going off the fields, especially when you're bow and arrow hunting. And I sacrificed the morning. Jay Novacek was hunting with us and already taken a nice deer, and we got probably 1,000 yards off the field up on a high bluff and actually took our binoculars and glassed the field from early morning to about the first hour and a half into the morning, watched several deer leave the field, saw where this particular buck went out. Lunchtime, we went in, we set up our camera stand and the hunter stand, and I was fortunate he came right back out on that same trail and presented himself with a good shot.
Well, I tell you one thing, when it comes crunch time, you put the number on it, man, you put a good shot on that deer. What you think, Dave?
That was an awesome shot. And I tell you what, it's something you just mentioned is a great tip for all of our viewers, and something we've learned the hard way sometimes out there hunting that big open country. When you're not sure about what the deer are doing exactly, sacrifice a day or two, sit back from a long range, glass, and monitor the deer before you move in close.
You're right, because I can't count the number of times after a scouting episode like that, how many times the first time we set that stand, we harvest or take a deer and get it all on video, and it pays off.
Yeah, and take those binoculars, because you never can tell when you're off a far distance, and you're really able to judge the size of a deer's rack from far off too. But Dave, we got some other great hunts coming up, and I'm anxious to see those. What do we got coming up?
Are y'all ready to go back to Canada for some more big deer?
I'm ready to go back and look at the video. I don't know if I'm ready to go back now, but I'm kind of enjoying this Georgia weather right now. But
Boy, you had a great hunt with Richard Reed, didn't you?
I did, and Richard is a fantastic guy. He's a doctor in Mississippi. You met him in the airport, actually, last year.
Sure did.
And just let us come along on his hunt and video his hunt up at Northway Outfitters with Buddy and Charles. And, what a hunt he had. A huge, big Canadian mature
Don't give it
deer.
away.
That's right, I better not give it away, but a heck of a hunt. I think people are going to like it.
There again, we always talk about Northway Outfitters. Those guys do a great job for us, and other great hunts from up there as well.
Got some great Canada hunts, so let's take a look.
Folks, we got some great hunts coming up, so let's take a look.
The first stop in Canada is with outdoor writer Gary Clancy, hunting with Rob Dunham Outfitting in Good Soil, Saskatchewan.
Lots of game trails. Kind of a funnel there between the lake and the creek. Is that what they funnel into there?
Yeah, it's natural trails coming through.
Good.
And there's lots of action there, rubs all over the place. So
sounds good. Let me get my rifle and we'll get on with it.
All right then. I'll get the quad.
Not exactly the way you'd think the North Country would look in November, huh? Well, this video is worth a few words, and what it says is, the weather is unusually warm, and the big boys just aren't moving. Bud Gary, hunting with a black powder rifle, has eyed a buck worthy enough for a primitive weapon. Awesome shot, Gary. Let's take another peek in slow motion.
Yeah, he came right around these pine trees. I watched him come down off around here. He didn't go 50, 60 yards total. I'm sure he shot through the lungs or the heart. He'll be right up ahead. There he is, right around the corner. Big. Look at the body of these things. Huge deer. Oh, yeah. Oh, neck all swelled up on him. Nice 8-pointer. Real dark rack. Oh, he's been doing a lot of rubbing. Very nice deer. Last afternoon of my hunt, I was glad to see him come through. Pretty buck. Very pretty.
Now we head down to Northway Outfitters for a hunt with Richard Reed of Mississippi. Richard is a big buck fanatic who genuinely enjoys the thrill of the chase as much as he does pulling the trigger. Richard is hunting the same spot where Bill took a big mainframe 9-point 2 years earlier on Monster Bucks 4. This area sure holds more than its share of huge bucks.
That guy's a pretty good buck. Man, he's wide. That's a good deer. That's a real good deer. That's one we gotta take, I think. That's what I'm looking for.
This buck would easily exceed 300 pounds, and his rack isn't bad either.
He's walking away from me. If he'll turn broadside, I think I can get a shot at him. That's a deer I'm gonna take.
That is a sight that would make any deer hunter's heart beat out of control.
He's hit hard. He can't go far. He's hit right behind the shoulder. Man, that's a good deer. He can't go very far. Oh, I'm happy. That is a great buck. I didn't think he was going to ever turn broadside. What a deer. Man, I'm proud. Whew, Canada has treated us nice. Oh man, there he is. He didn't go far. Let's go take a look at him. What a deer. Man, his body's huge. Those big bodies make the rack even look small. It's not small though. Well, what a deer. Look at that son of a gun. Now, Canada has been great. Look at that. That son of a gun is nice. He's wide.
Thanks, Richard, for letting us join in on your hunt. Unforgettable. It's time for another Realtree monster buck hunting tip. This one brought to you by Wellington Outdoors, maker of Tink 69. Here's Terry Rahm.
You know, when you hear a whitetail hunter talk about a bottleneck or a funnel, what he's talking about is the terrain. It forces a deer into one little area, one bottleneck or funnel. And what we got here is a real high cliff behind us. We got a cornfield out there and some big heavy brush here. So we got a bedding area and we got a feeding area. But this big heavy ravine forces these deer down to this one area right here. And if you find a bottleneck like that, put a stand up because you're going to get to see a deer. I'm Terry Rahm with Wellington, and that's your Realtree Outdoors tip of the week.
While Bill was hunting at Northway Outfitters this past season, another hunter in camp who had already filled his tag filmed a huge buck one afternoon on his home video camera while sitting on a stand. After Bill had completed his hunt, this monarch was still out there. So Bill left a camera at Northway Outfitters to try to capture someone taking this buck on tape. The only problem was the deer was in a residents-only zone, and not just anyone could hunt the big animal. Who's the lucky guy? Sheldon Graham. And believe it or not, he filmed and shot the buck himself. Now that's something.
Beauty. Oh yeah. There we go.
That's one heck of a trophy. This brute of a 10-pointer grosses a typical 173 Boone and Crockett points. David had a chance to hunt a different kind of monster buck this past November in eastern Colorado. Big muleys.
Yeah, I can see the tips of his horns. He's laying down.
How far is he from where you left him this morning?
He's about in the same spot.
Really?
The two does are right to the right, about right where they're standing when we left this morning.
How far out is he?
He's about 200 yards. There's a red bush out there you can see. He's laying down.
Over this red bush?
Just right out here. Straight out from us out here.
I think I may see the tip. You just seen the tip of his right?
Yeah. He's a
Okay,
good bull.
yeah, I see him. Wow, he's tall, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really tall. He looks like he has some pretty decent forks from what you see from here. What we'll do is we'll just kind of scoot out through here. We might have to crawl a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll just try to get out here. So try to get him.
Now they're just working backing out of this Milo behind us.
They come in here and feed.
Yeah.
They bed down in the spinal sometimes, but today they've chosen to bed down in the CR, which is actually a little harder to get to them. But
I mean, there's hardly no cover, so I'm not used to this.
yeah, it's eastern Colorado.
Well, I'll just follow you.
Okay.
The country is wide open, and the normal amount of cover is history due to a record 30-inch snowstorm a few weeks earlier, making the stalking game on bedded game such as this big buck risky at best.
Let's go down toward that bush right there. He's on that side of that bush. There's that bush. Let's crawl out that way. We'll try to keep that bush between us so he don't see us. He's not paying much attention. So okay.
David and guide Robbie Parker continue to close the distance. The buck stands up.
Wait a minute, Robbie. Robbie.
Now, the video looks as if the distance between the hunter and the game is roughly 30 yards. However, the buck is still over 60 yards away. That, folks, is a world-class mule deer buck, drop tines and all. The gig is up. The buck and his does want no more of this party. What would be the chances of getting on him again? Would you believe pretty good? Well, stay tuned.
He's got drop time.
I saw.
We gotta get him.
What are we gonna do with him? He was still 60 yards.
We'll be all right. We'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, Robbie was close.
We got really close. He decided to stand up or something.
When he stood up, he made it a little bit tougher, but he had a couple of does with him, and they just went down. Robbie said to the Milo field, we're going to go down there, and he should bed up in the Milo, you see.
He'll bed up in that Milo, and we'll be able to put another sneak on there. Milo will be a little easier to sneak up. He's got a little more cover. It's a little taller, so.
Great. Boy, he's an awesome deer.
Oh, he's got those two drop times.
I saw that when he was running off.
He's a nice buck. He's a nice buck.
This is a lot of fun. This is a
30
lot of
yards
fun.
more. 30 yards more.
Yeah. We almost had it.
Almost had it.
Incredibly, through a stroke of good luck and great eyesight by Robbie, the same buck is spotted rack high above the Milo later that afternoon. Game plan? Oh, same deal. Only this time, David will go the final distance alone. Because the Milo offers better cover, David has made it to within bow range and ranges the buck at 33 yards. David knows instantly the shot is low, out of sight of the camera, A disappointing end to a thrilling chase.
Golly, Robbie, I cannot believe it.
We'll get another chance.
I can't believe it. I mean, we found that big buck again from this morning.
Yeah.
You found him out here in this Milo. How I don't know.
Just glassing around. I can see his antlers moving in the milo there.
And I started in on him, and you stayed back, 60 yards, and I started in, and I got to 40 yards, and my contact pops out.
I don't know what you're doing. I can see you down there doing
I went to range, and I torqued my eye just right, and it popped out under my head net. So I had to go to my knees, take my head net and hat off, my gloves off, find my contact on my cheek, put it in my mouth, and try to get it back in. I didn't think I was ever going to get it in, but I did, and I got 30 yards from him. He stood up, perfect shot, and I just shot under him. I mean, I'm sorry.
That's no problem. We'll
I just shot under. No excuse. I just made a bad shot. I cannot believe it. Buck of a lifetime.
We have spotters out, and I'm sure they found him where he went.
He took off across that Milo field, I tell you.
He's a nice buck.
He is unreal. But we're going to try it again.
Scott Tenold of Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. I just recently returned from southeastern Colorado, where I had an opportunity to harvest this deer. I hunted the late season in Colorado. There was 2 other guys that hunted the early season, but they never saw this deer. 2 days before I got there, this friend of mine called me and had just gone out in that field to see what was coming out and if there was any good bucks there. And that evening, this one stepped out again. So he got all excited and called me and, said that big one that we'd been seeing the last couple of years was back again. And hopefully he'd sit there another 2 days till I could get there. And those were probably the 2 of the hardest days of my life. I didn't sleep, knowing that deer was there and hoping he would still stay there. I got out there on a Saturday. We went out early that morning. The next morning, Sunday morning, the wind wasn't right for where we wanted to hunt him. We thought he'd be in that same hayfield, which he was, but the wind was blowing right into it, and we didn't want to spook him, so we set off 500-600 yards off the side of that field. I watched this deer through a spotting scope for about an hour that morning, and that was just tearing me up. Seeing that deer, I was praying that morning that the wind would switch and we would have an opportunity to hunt him that afternoon, and about 1 o'clock it did, and we jumped in the truck and went back out there, and we set up in a blind that was there along irrigation ditch about 1 o'clock. About 2 hours later, I was peeking through the hay bales and saw a big buck step out of the brush, and I didn't know if it was him or not. My friend that had found the sheds, I asked him if that was that deer. He had a camera and with a zoom on there, and he could zoom up and see if that was a deer or not, and sure enough, that was the right one. And but he didn't let me shoot it right away because he wanted to get it on tape. So he was going to tell me when I could pull the trigger. I was watching through my scope, and he said, okay, you can go ahead and shoot now. And it was a quartering away shot, about 250 yards, and I had a good rest and made the shot, and he went about 40 yards and piled up there. And still at that time, I didn't realize exactly what we had.
What a great deer.
It wasn't until actually we got back and got the official score, 245 and 2/8, that it started to sink in that, we had really had gotten something. And as it turns out, it's the number 2 non-typical whitetail in Colorado. He's got 7-inch bases. He's 22.5 inches wide inside. He's got 4 brow tines on the right side. And he was harvested on December 7th, and he still weighed 270 pounds. After I started sharing the story with a few people, and they did some checking, what we think is that it's the biggest free-roaming whitetail ever shot on video. And at that point, I thought, well, maybe I'll call the guys at Realtree that I had seen their videos over the last 5 years, and I knew they were really excited about hunting whitetails and big deer. So I called them to see if they might be interested in taking a look at the tape and seeing the deer. And I sent it down there, and they were all excited. And so we decided to get together and see if we could do something with it. And I'm just having a ball sharing this thing with people. And
Bill, I think that's about the neatest home video I've ever seen out in Colorado. What a pig of a deer.
That is incredible, and I tell you, the way they seen that deer earlier before, you know, the hunter got out there and knew that he was using in this area, but what a great deer, David.
Is that all you can say is incredible? I mean, there's got to be other words that describe it better.
Massive, huge,
Jealous.
everything in
Jealous.
between.
Wish I was there.
Yeah.
That is probably the largest wild whitetail ever harvested on camera, ever, of all time. 245 gross Boone and Crockett.
A monster.
That is a great deer, and I tell you what, the other deer in Canada aren't all bad either. And you know, Gary Clancy, who's a good friend, outdoor writer with hunting with Rod Dunham, had an exceptional hunt up there. You know, Rob always does a great job, as you know. And what about our boy Sheldon? Tell the folks about that hunt.
Well, that's the big 173 Sheldon took, and a hunter in camp the week before had seen this big deer on his home video, and but it was in a part of the province where only Canadian residents could hunt. So we left one of our camera packages up there. When we came back home, Sheldon goes out one evening, being a Canadian resident,
Right.
with just himself in the camera and films himself taking that deer.
Does a pretty good job at both, I might add. God,
You know, his deer and Richard Reese too were both exceptional deer, but we had another miss.
I tell you.
Did you remember seeing that?
Let me get my pocket knife. I don't usually cut shirt tails off for misses and stuff like that. Boy, y'all was putting a sneaky sneak on the mule deer.
Putting the Mohican snake.
The Mohican snake.
You didn't miss that mule deer by much.
I think I was so excited. I think I just didn't follow through with the shot. I think I probably dropped my arm a little bit and the arrow dropped down, but
Still a great hunt.
It was quite an experience, yeah.
Well, you know, David, you know, we got some more great hunts coming up, and how about setting some of those up for us?
Well, we're going back to the Perlitz Ranch, Jimmy and Stuart Perlitz, and which is probably the most fun hunt of the year. They have been known to cook a little bit.
A little bit. I think gained about 20 pounds.
You know, the Perlitz Ranch, you know, we always talk about Jimmy and Stuart, but one of our favorite places to go, and we hunted this year with Chipper Jones, third baseman for the Atlanta Braves, and also Jeff Foxworthy, and I think everybody probably knows Jeff, you know, being a comedian, but we had a fun time in camp, but Michael, Jeff took that hunting pretty serious when you're on stand.
He took it serious. Now, he's a funny guy, and around the camp, we was just laughing the whole time, but when we crawled up in that deer stand, he was serious. I mean, I ain't never seen anybody that serious hunting. I mean, he was just, there wasn't any joke telling.
Yeah, and Chipper's the same way, and, you know, we talked about this deer earlier when we opened up the video, one that cost David his job and his demotion.
Oh, yeah.
David.
That's just a little...
incredible. I'm not even going to say anything else about it, folks. What we're going to do right now is going to see some great hunts. Let's take a look.
Chipper Jones of the Atlanta Braves loves to hunt, and on the Perlitz Ranch, Chipper can harvest a trophy buck as well as a management buck. Well, on Monster Buck 6, Volume 1, he took a tremendous buck for his trophy. Next up, his management buck, a mature 8-pointer or 9-pointer.
There he is, right there. He's coming around for a good shot. I got him. Oh, man. What a buck. He's down out there probably about 100 yards. Oh, man. What a buck. What a beautiful buck. There's some right there. Right there he is. Look at that. Look at the horn sticking up in the air. Good gracious. Wow. What a deer. Whoo. Man, what a buck.
Boy, that's some management buck.
What a trophy buck. Look at that thing there. Boy, I tell you what, this was one of many bucks we saw here this morning, but
this one just offered us a shot that we couldn't pass up, just a picture-perfect opportunity. Jimmy and Stuart Perlett's got a unbelievable trophy buck program out here, and I sure am proud of this one. I know the guys over at back at camp with Realtree Outdoors, Bill Jordan and them, are going to be extremely happy with him too. What a great day and a perfect ending for a great day.
Sunrise on the last day of a 5-day hunt. That's the scenario Jeff Foxworthy faced as he tried to put a trophy buck within shooting distance of his stand. Oh, it's not like he didn't grudgingly pass on a 150 class buck the first morning that was later deemed a trophy. That particular buck refused to show himself again. So here we are, last morning. There is tension in the air, but not for long. Jeff's looking at a good 10-pointer that more than qualifies for a trophy.
That's a good deer. Look at him, he's running that doe.
In fact, this buck is flat out putting on a show for the camera as he dogs does all morning out in the pear flat. Well, Jeff has seen enough. That's a good buck.
Come on. Come on outside that bush. Come on.
Good shot, Jeff.
He was right out in here when I shot, and he went behind this big tree over here, and we never saw him come out. We waited about 10, 15 minutes and never saw him come out, so hopefully he didn't go too far. He came through here. He came through here. There he is. There he is, right over there. Oh, man, look at this deer. Look at this deer. Oh, man. Oh, man, am I excited. Look at that deer. I am telling you what, you cannot beat this South Texas for deer hunting. I have never hunted down here before, but I guarantee I'll be back. This is as exciting as anything I've ever seen. He came out right after daylight. He was chasing some does. There was another 10-pointer out there, and he brooded him off, and he was cutting a doe out of the group there and kind of quartering away from her about 120 yards when I shot. And man, look at that deer. I am just tickled to death. Jeff will be back to the Perlis Ranch, I guarantee you.
Let's take a look at this monster buck profile featuring the Jamie Remmer buck from Kansas, taken in 1997. It's the largest buck ever harvested by a woman.
My name is Jamie Rimmers. I'm from Marion, Kansas. On December 7th of 1997, I was able to harvest this fine, non-typical buck. I've hunted for about 15 years and have taken several bucks now. I decided that I really wanted to get one for the wall, and little did I know what I was actually going to end up with. On that Sunday afternoon, we decided, my husband and I and a friend, to do a hunt behind the house, and we pushed out a creek, and 3 other bucks came out, and then this one came out. I knew that we had seen him before on several occasions during the rut season, but I sure didn't expect to see him this time. And he came out at over 400 yards away, and I shot him at less than 50. I've had people want to know why I took so long to shoot, but it took that long for me to calm down and get the crosshairs to hold still. I had my father's 270 Remington, and took one shot, and he wheeled around and went a little ways and dropped. And I got up to him, and I was elated. I knew he was big, but I don't think we realized at the time just how big he ended up to be. We waited the 60 days for him to get his official drying score, and at Boone & Crockett scored at 257 1/8. His outside spread is a little under 30 inches, and his mass is up to 9. He has 34 scoreable points, and he's the largest whitetail taken in '97. And as far as we know, he's the largest ever taken by a woman in the world. It's been quite the experience getting him, and one that I'll always remember and have been happy to get to experience.
Through David Morris, David received an invitation from Gary Swartz to hunt the famed Tecomate Ranch. Believe me, folks, this is a chance of a lifetime, and David jumped at the chance. Through extensive planting of super high-protein food plots for the deer during spring and summer, Tecomate bucks have an incredible amount of mass to their racks. Whoa, look at the rack coming through the brush. David's looking for a specific buck that Gary had seen the year before, and again just a week before David's hunt. David wants to be sure it's him.
I don't see him. I guess he dropped. Did he drop? Did he? All right, what a buck. What a buck. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Oh my gosh, that is certainly by far the biggest deer I've ever taken. Good night. I want you to look. Golly. Gosh. What can you say? What can you say except what a pig? What a deer. That is a hunt of a lifetime, folks. I mean, I'm almost speechless. I mean, this is the proof that what Gary's doing here on the Tecomate Ranch, providing all this nutrition year-round, high-protein food year-round for his deer herd. Look what he does. Look at the mass. Of course, he lets these deer get the age on them, but he pours nutrition to them, and I mean, this is the kind of deer that is growing on the Tecomate, and folks, it can be done all over the country with the ways we've talked about with Gary, and man, this is unreal. This morning, real foggy. Couldn't see 50 yards at first. And then these does started coming in and feeding on the roadway, and this buck showed up, and he'd check a few of those, and he'd run off, and he'd come back, and he'd feed a little bit, and he'd run off and come back, and finally the fog started lifting, and I was just about to go crazy, nervous, wondering if he was going to present us with a good video and a good shot without taking off after doe and never coming back. But folks, it just didn't get better. I mean, this is unreal. What a hunt. Woo! Boy, I'm happy. What a hunt. Well, I tell you, Michael and Bill, we got some great hunts coming up next from the Encinitas Ranch. We took a one...
Don't
time
we
out.
usually recap, Bill?
Time out. Let's talk about some of those other hunts. And you took a great deer, David, and we need to talk about it.
Yeah, man, congratulations. I got to tell you a story right quick. I don't know if I even told you this. The day he shoots his big buck there on the Tecomate, well, I'm down at Encinitas, I'm videoing, and we're having a good hunt, and I get this phone call, and this old David over here, and I said, hey, man, y'all have any luck this morning? We having good luck, we've been seeing lots of deer. David said, yeah, we seeing a few deer, I got a nice one this morning, I said, well, how big is he? He's 176.
Boone and Crockett.
Not but the
176
biggest
Boone and
deer
Crockett.
we've ever, taken on the Monster Buck series, and just a 176. I think now, it was my prediction at that time that he knew he'd just shot the demotion buck.
The demotion buck.
The demotion buck.
It's hard to
just
imagine in
the
within
theory.
seconds going from Realtree Outdoors producer of our television show to no job at all.
That's right.
Well, this was a pretty good feeling.
No,
Well, all kidding aside, I congratulate you.
yeah,
on it.
we're tickled for you, and I think we are. But no, I tell you, that is an exceptional deer and a great hunt once again from Tecomate.
Well, that's an exceptional ranch. Gary Schwartz at the Tecomate's put a lot of time and effort into that ranch, and he's doing something that people told him could not be done in South Texas, and that is grow food plots for deer. It's so dry, but Gary's gone out and found this lab. It's a dry weather plant, and it's full of protein, tremendous for antler growth. He plants a lot of lab in the late winter, early spring, and as you can see, it puts a lot of mass and a lot of horn on those deer.
It can turn a regular Texas ranch into what normally is a good
Into
deer
bigger
ranch to
deer.
Jurassic Park, huh?
It's unbelievable.
I think that's something, he's farming for those deer 12 months out of the year. And, putting soil contents or ingredients to grow big racks back in, not just in the, the fall of the year, but during the antler growth time. And Texas had a lot of rain this past spring, too, during the antler growth time, which
Sure.
really helped.
And then what about heart attack?
What?
Think we ought to show these folks heart attack?
I don't know if I'm ready for a heart attack, because I may have one right here, but this is absolutely one of the largest whitetails in the wild I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is not a brood buck. He's not a tame buck. He's a wild whitetail, and it's on the Tecomate Ranch of Gary Schwartz's, and he's an incredible buck.
And his name is Heart Attack. For people to understand, his name is Heart Attack. But we also have some other great hunts coming up as well.
Great hunts to the Encinitas. We've got some fantastic deer hunts coming up again.
Well, folks, let's do this. We got a lot of great hunts coming up next, so let's take a look.
The Encinitas Ranch is a paradise for the Realtree team, with lots of good bucks roaming its 45,000 acres. On this hunt, we join black powder hunting expert Jim Shockey on a foggy South Texas morning. A nice 10-pointer moves in through the fog. He's a nice buck with any weapon, but especially with a muzzleloader. Way to go, Jim.
There it is. Wouldn't go too far. Oh, beautiful buck. That's my dream Texas buck right here. I've hunted twice with the Realtree gang down here on the Encinitas Ranch. First time I made a little mistake judging. This time we did a lot better. This is a good 5x6 11 pointer with a kicker on the back and another one busted off. Beautiful buck.
One of the popular ways to hunt Texas is from a tower blind. That allows a hunter to see down several senderos or roads at once.
Time we got here, 7:30. We got 7:30 in the morning on my third day at the Encinitas. We have seen good bucks every day.
And this is exactly the way Eric Leslie of Federal Ammunition is hunting. And he is covered up with bucks.
Boy, that's a nice buck. What a beautiful buck.
Notice the extremely aggressive posturing by the dominant buck on the right. Eric likes the big 10-pointer and waits for a good shot.
As soon as he stops broadside, I'm gonna take him. All right. Okay, as soon as you stop, I'm taking you. All right. All right, there he is. He hit pretty hard in there. I don't see him. He hit in some brush really hard.
Nice buck.
What do you think?
Nice deer.
I mean, look at he's been fighting already. Look at his horn. He's been rubbing. He's starting to get in the rut. I'll tell you, he's not a bad deer. Pretty heavy.
Good deer. I knew if you stuck it out over here, you'd
I tell you, we've been here every day and been seeing some nice bucks. And we knew we were going to see. We knew it was just a matter of time, and that cool spell come in, and it was all over. I'll tell you. Isn't he a beauty? Thank you. Thank you very much. Encinitas really did me justice.
Great.
This Realtree monster buck hunting tip with Wayne Ball of Florian Ratchet Cutters is sponsored by Bear Jennings, makers of top quality Bear and Jennings archery equipment.
Fellas, you know, late in the summer, whenever you're thinking about presetting your deer stands, what I want to talk to you about is getting in and out of your stand location without letting the deer know where you're coming from. This time of year, it's warm, it's hot, humid. A lot of guys wear rubber boots so you don't put scent on the ground, okay? We don't pump gas with our hunting shoes on no more. But fellas, we're walking through the woods with our bare hands during hunting season, touching limbs. This is not a hand, it is a scent pad with 5 air wicks on the end of it. And what I want to show you is the Model 801 Phantom Hunter, an Advantage camo. And I said Advantage because it is an advantage. I'm able to walk into my stand and cut limbs out of the way as I preset my stands early in the year, okay? And what I'm going to do is get this foliage out of my way so that when I come back in during deer season, my bow, my archery equipment, my tree stand is not going to hit any of this foliage and make noise where the deer would actually know that I'm coming into the area to hunt, okay? So remember, don't let a limb stand between you and him. And that's Wayne Ball with Florian Ratchet Cut Forest and Field. That's your Realtree Outdoors hunting tip.
Thanks, Wayne. Once again, we catch up with Michael on a bow hunt on the Encinitas Ranch.
It's the last week in the season, and this morning's our last morning of the hunt. So we decided to hunt this oak field. It's real lush, you can see. Deer been moving a lot during the night. The moon's been full. So we're just hoping we can catch a deer coming back. Maybe feeding. This oat field is huge, so maybe we can catch a deer. We slipped in from the backside with the wind in our favor, so we got the whole south end of this field untouched. So hopefully we can catch a deer back on that end, feeding back this way, going back to bed. It's real thick behind us here, so all we can do is hope for the best and hope to get lucky. See what happens.
It's mid-January, and the bucks are really drained from the rut, which peaked 3 weeks earlier. Food sources such as this oat food plot give the bucks a jump start on regaining their body weights. Not long after daylight, Michael sees a good buck headed towards his stand.
Here comes a good buck. He's 32 yards.
Michael's Realtree Extra Brown allows him to disappear from the buck's keen eyesight. Great shot, Michael. He won't go far.
Yes, yes. Whew, ain't nothing like this bow hunting, man.
Let's see it again in slow motion.
And the deer moving. We ain't been here long hunting this big oat field, and he come right in. Man, that was a good shot. Looked like it was right behind the shoulder. Let's go take a look at it. It's looking good. He come right through here. See where he kicked up the sand right here. Here we go. Here we go. Boy, that tri-lock looked like it was putting a number on him. Man, look at this. Ain't no way he went too far. I mean, it was right behind the shoulder. Here we go right here. Pretty easy tracking out here in this green oat field. Woo, there he is. Look at that buck, man. Look at this. Look at all the scrapes they got in here. This is what Bill was talking about. I mean, they got this place tore up. I mean, he run right through his scrape. That'll be the last time he runs through these. He checked these on the fly, I can tell you. Yes, sir. That tri-lock did a number on him. Yes, yes. All right. He's down. He is down for the count. Yes, yes, yes. Look at this dude right here now. 10-pointer. I mean, an awesome morning here on the Encinitas Ranch. Man, situation we've been dealing with, we've been seeing a lot of deer throughout the week, but this is the last day. The moon's been full, and the cool temperatures rolled in the last day and a half,
and these deer have been moving a lot at night, and so it's been tough, especially during the mornings. We're seeing some deer in the evenings, but the mornings have been kind of slow. Just right at daylight, we're seeing some deer. I've been moving midday a little bit, but still it's been kind of slow, mostly during the night. But this morning, we slipped in here, and the south end of this field is pretty torn up with scrapes and stuff. You've seen some of them right back there. We walked through, and what we did, we slipped in from the opposite end of it with the wind in our favor, and hoping to catch these deer feeding on these oats and slipping back our way. It's just a huge field, and sure enough, the plan paid off. Looked up, seen the deer easing down the edge of the fence line, and he cut on a trail that we got the stands positioned on and just fed his way right by us. It was a 32-yard shot, and man, I couldn't be any happier to get him. A nice Encinitas buck.
Also on the Encinitas, Realtree Pro staffer Joe Drake had a, let's just say, an interesting, yeah, that's it, an interesting hunt. Well, you'll see.
He's walking right down the road. It's a pretty good deer, ain't it? Reckon we ought to shoot him. If he gets in here real close, we'll try.
You see, Joe is a beginning black powder hunter who is not all that comfortable yet, especially with a big buck like this close by. Joe aims and fires? Oh, well, thanks, Joe. Thanks for remembering that this is a family show.
What in the world happened?
Some lessons are more painful than others. Oh, that one hurt.
Yes, sir, that's my problem. Jim Shockey told me I probably had a clogged nipple, and that's exactly what happened. We shot the gun 3 or 4 times when we got here to make sure everything was zeroed. Didn't think a thing about it, loaded it back up and went hunting. And you can see, by not checking everything, it cost me one fine buck this morning. Well, that's a hard lesson learned, and I promise you, that won't ever happen again. Make sure that your nipple is clean and clear and ready to go. Sure cost me a fine buck.
But this hunting tip was brought to you by CVA since 1971. Accuracy at an affordable price. Terry Rahm of Wellington Outdoors joins us next for a great hunt on the San Enrique Ranch in Mexico. Mexico has sure produced some awesome bucks over the years, and Terry encounters a huge buck on this hunt. Unfortunately for the camera, 40-mile-per-hour winds have kicked up, making the video more than a little shaky.
Big 8, our big 8 point, right up there. Chasing a bunch of does.
Even at this distance, the frame of the big buck's rack is impressive.
There's like 3 or 4 does in him. Another little buck. They're what, still too far away. All right, here comes one of those does. We're gonna work our way.
You hit him hard.
That's a big 8. We seen the deer go down over here. Up there he is. Look what a set of horns. Whew, what a mass. Dang. That's a big 8. That is him, finally. There's his kicker. Started another kicker. It was getting late. We were worried it was the last day, and finally here he comes out of the thick brush up here chasing a couple does. And he kept bumping them and bumping them. He kept getting closer and closer. And we've seen this buck 3 or 4 times this week and could never get him close enough. And we seen him go in right here one day, so we moved our stands. And it paid off to move because that's right where he was headed. He was going back to lay up. Look at that spread. He's got to be, I don't know, 18, 19 inches. Good heavy mass. Down here in Mexico with Team Realtree, it's been a great hunt.
Congratulations, Terry.
Well, that was quite an 8-pointer Terry took down in Mexico, I'll tell you that.
That is one of the biggest 8-pointers I think I've ever seen. You know, I took a nice 8-pointer in Canada, and I tell you, Terry's in Mexico was awesome, but I just can't believe how windy it was. That, you know, the wind gust had to be 40, 50 miles an hour, and just trying to keep the camera on him and keeping steady with the gun and the scope is incredible. Terry did a great job.
He did. There's not much of a windbreak down there in Mexico, especially on that ranch.
You don't get a relief from wind. I tell you, there's some great hunts from Texas, too. You had a great bow hunt on that oak patch.
I did, and I have to, you the man. I ain't gonna lie, you the man. Had to say, Bill put me on that deer. That was his oak patch that you really like to hunt when you go down to Encinitas. And once again, Encinitas paid off for us, just like always.
Well, you saw a tremendous deer in an oak field that you were hunting, and I was hunting another place on the oak field. I said, you need to go to this field. Something's going to happen. The first time you sat in it, this deer comes right to you, but you made a great shot on a great deer.
Last morning, brought it down.
Last morning, not all bad, but other great hunts. And David, you know, I tell you, already of our Realtree cameras, we're already looking forward to filming Monster Buck 7 video, and I don't know how we're going to do much better than we've done this year, but we're certainly going to try.
Well, we had a great year. We kicked El Nino. He almost got us there in the middle of the year, but we kind of
messed with us.
Kicked him there at the end, and it just turned out great.
You know, it really did turn out great, and I want to thank all the people who had an opportunity to hunt with this year, all of our outfitters. You know, we're going to have the telephone number of all of our outfitters coming up shortly after the show, and a lot of times people think when we do our videos that, you know, we hunt in special places. You too can hunt majority of the places that we hunt. Give these outfitters a call. I promise you won't be disappointed. But I personally want to thank you for supporting us over the last couple of years. We hope you've enjoyed our Monster Bucks videos and also our television show. And from a heartfelt thank you from all of us at Realtree, thank you for supporting our products, buying our videos, watching our TV shows, because we certainly like being in your home each week. But as I always say, when you have an opportunity, take a child hunting and fishing so they too can enjoy the outdoors. For David and Michael, I'm Bill Jordan, and we hope to see you next time from Realtree Outdoors on exciting Monster Bucks videos.
Oh man, what a beautiful deer. Got good inside spread, got good tine length right there. And
to our east there, and he jumped the fence right below the tree and got a broadside shot into him. What a great buck. What a fantastic buck.
It's a great Montana deer, a tremendous hunt. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much,
Don.
Randy.
Thanks, Realtree.
Enjoyed having you.
Thank you.
And man, everything turned out perfect. A big mature 10-point buck in Encinitas Ranch.
30 yards from him, he stood up, perfect shot, and I just shot under him.
Huh?
I mean, I'm sorry.
That's no problem.
I just shot under him. No excuse. I just made a bad shot. I cannot believe it. Buck of a lifetime.
We were glad to see this one come by. Last day of my hunt. Cutting her close. Very nice.
Service.
Oh, is it?
We were in a good place today. It's been a cold week in Canada. Buddy and Charles here at Northway Outfitters.
Good night. Look at that, folks. Woo-hoo-hoo, boy, I'm happy. What a deer. Look at the mass. Look at the size of that rack.
South Texas deer hunt, it doesn't get any better than this, man. Perlis Ranch, I will be back. Boy, am I
Tell you what, this was one of many bucks we saw this morning, and this one just happened to present us with a picture-perfect shot.
I knew right away that this was one I wanted. I mean, this is a beautiful, beautiful deer. And we waited for him to get broadside, make a good shot, and
Green Texas buck, perfect shaped rack. Looks like he's an 11 pointer, 6x5.
And what a deer. We seen him coming out of the thick brush this morning. It was getting late. What have I done wrong? Why did this thing go off?
Oh man, what a beautiful deer. Got good inside spread, got good tine link right.
For some great hunting in northeastern Montana, contact Donnie Lynn at area code 406-654-2249.
He doesn't look, that old hair so long, he looks nothing like a dang Mississippi deer.
The guys at Northway Outfitters in Saskatchewan keep producing huge bucks. Give them a call at area code 306-937-3017.
Nice 8-pointer, real dark rack. Boy, he's been doing a lot of rubbing.
For more great Canadian whitetails, visit with Rob Dunham at area code 403-875-2711.
Pretty buck.
We found that big buck again from this morning. You found him out here in this
To hunt eastern plains Colorado for muleys and whitetails, contact R&J Outfitters at area code 719-336-5973.
From the rest of them, and was kind of quartering away, about 120 yards. And
The Perlitz Ranch. To check it out, call Bill Whitfield at area code 210-494-6421.
Present us with a good video and a good shot without taking off after doe and never coming back. But
For information on how to grow bigger bucks under the Tecomate food plot system, call Tecomate Seed Company at 1-800-332-4054.
I tell you, we've been here every day and been seeing some nice bucks.
Mac Burns and his family do a great job on the Encinitas Ranch. For a quality experience, call 1-800-222-3824.
Paid off the move because that's right where he was headed.
Give Old Mexico a try. Give the folks at Cabela's Outdoor Adventures a ring at 1-800-346-8747.
With Team Realtree, it's been a great hunt.
This has been a Realtree Outdoor production.